Hey everybody, Dr. Jaime here, and you are about to listen to the Dr. Jaime Show audio experience. I hope you enjoy the tips and advice in this segment. Hey everyone, Dr. Jaime here with the Dr. Jaime Show audio experience, and today I am here with returning guest Coleen Sterns Leith, President of Marketing Matters, marketingmatters.net, and today we're here to recap the 60-minute live show she was on with free giveaways. It was so fun. We talked about social media, websites, marketing, PR, you name it. This is the episode for you. Coleen, welcome back to the Dr. Jaime Show.
Thank you, Jamie. It's good to be here.
Yeah, so, the first question that I think it's important for viewers to know, since we sort of condensed the 60 minutes into like 4 minutes right here, is, and this was a viewer question as well, so I thought there was some relevance that the listeners would want here to know more about. If a business has a small budget, what's the best way to get the word out about them?
Well, a couple ways. Public relations is one of the least expensive ways to get the word out. And a small business owner can do this themselves. You know, do a little bit of research on how to put a press release together, a press announcement. Everything's on Google. And do a little bit of research. Look at the Tampa Bay Times or the Tampa Business Journal and see which editors cover things. You know, if you're a construction company, who's covering construction or business. If you're working in finance, who covers the finance stories? So you're talking to the correct editor, because if you send your information to the wrong editor, it's
probably not going to be seen.
It's going to go into a black hole. Yeah, chances are. So that's a good way to get that free coverage and that free advertising. I use that term loosely. Another real inexpensive way is to use Facebook ads. For $100 a week, you can really do some significant followers or even sales. Depending on if you're promoting a product or service. It's pretty inexpensive. You can really drill down. The Facebook has some really targeted options in their demographics. Interests as well as basic demographics.
Well, and going back to your first point, as a small business, you've got to build your credibility. And when you're reaching out to the Times of X city or the newspaper that's really predominant in X state, and you get in these, they're using your work. You now can add these logos, like you were saying during the episode, to your website, and that establishes credibility and authority.
Absolutely, and not just the logo, the link, because that's going to help your search engine optimization and make it easier for you to be found. You need those credible, authoritative, outbound links.
Okay, that's excellent. Any other tips for businesses that have a small budget on how to get the word out about them?
A couple of inexpensive things are, if you have a storefront, do an event, do grand openings, do sales, do things to drive traffic in. If another great tool is to partner with a complementary business.
I really like this one during this segment. This is something I'm probably going to do. So give an example of what you mean by that.
The example I used earlier was, if you're selling, say you're selling watches, fine watches, maybe you want to partner with your local Lexus or Mercedes dealer for an event. Mm-hmm. It could be a holiday. If you're selling clothing, maybe it makes sense, or clothing probably wouldn't work. The local Harley dealers typically will hold events on Sundays where they, offer drinks and it's a party atmosphere. They've got music and so you've got a lot of their former customers and prospective companies. So say you're launching a new line of liquor products,
which we decided we were going to launch.
Exactly,
you and I. Yeah,
that's a great idea.
Yeah. So look for me and Coleen at the next Harley
we'll be there.
event. We'll be there with our new vodka. Okay, so those are some awesome tips. Now, we talked a little bit when it comes to marketing about print. Is print dead? Because we keep hearing this.
No, it's not. It's not as significant as it used to be, yet there is a place for it. Depending on your product or service. The older demographic, older folks, tend to like the print. They still want to read the print magazine and not the digital version.
The newspaper.
Exactly. And when it comes to, say, a company brochure is still very relevant. Granted, most of your viewing is going to be online. You should have that company brochure on your website in a digital format. Yet when you go to have a meeting, or if you have salespeople, or you participate in trade shows or consumer shows, you need to have something for people to pick up and take back and remind them. Or if you're meeting with somebody, it's nice to use that, to do a walkthrough and point out particular things that are strengths for your business or service.
So it does. It depends on your goal and the purpose, and it depends on your business. But what I like, and I want the small business owners to hear right now is, Coleen and I were talking. If you are like a startup business, you have a very small budget, it's probably not in your best interest to put a small business card size ad in your local newspaper or magazine for 1 month and be done. That's going to be a waste of money. Absolutely, 100% waste of money. You need at least 6 months of it. You've got to be visible. You've got to check out the Dr. Jaime Show with Coleen. She goes into, how many times people need to see you for it to be effective, how many hours people need to see you for your marketing to be effective. So a one and done is not going to work, so save the money. All right, Coleen, my last question for you. What are some website best practices for our listeners?
The number one best practice is maintenance, and it's two sides of maintenance. Maintenance to your content to help your SEO and make sure everything is working on your website. It's adding those new links to those news stories. It's adding blog content and keeping your website relevant to Google. And a couple other things that are really important with your website is to make sure that your mobile site passes Google's test. There's a Google mobile-friendly test that Google offers.
Oh.
And it will tell you, and basically you can Google mobile friendly.
Google anything, actually, in the whole world, because Google knows everything.
Google mobile friendly, and it'll take you to a link where you can run a test to see if your website passes the mobile friendly test. And if it doesn't, jump on that, because their changes to the algorithms now put greater emphasis on two things. A good mobile site, because of the preponderance of people basically accessing the internet from their phones rather than desktops. And secondly, the loading time of your site. So if your site is slow, look into your, most of the time that's a hosting issue.
And she was saying, pay the extra few bucks and get that faster speed.
Don't cheap out on that. It's not worth it.
No.
You want people, if your site is spinning, somebody's going to move on to something else. They're not going to sit around and wait for you.
What do you do when someone's, listeners, what do you do when someone's website is spinning and spinning? You X out and you go to the next website. Mm-hmm. They're going to do that for your business as well.
Absolutely.
Coleen, thank you so much for joining us again on the Dr. Jaime Show.
It's always fun, Jamie. Thank you.
Yeah, everyone, you are listening to the Dr. Jaime Show audio experience with Coleen Sterns Leith, president of Marketing Matters, marketingmatters.net. Do me a favor, go to Google, Play, iTunes, YouTube, subscribe to the Dr. Jaime Show, rate and review us 5 stars, please. Every like, every follow keeps bringing out amazing guests with great information like Coleen here, president of Marketing Matters. Have a great day. Thank you so much for listening to the Dr. Jaime Show audio experience. I really hope that you enjoyed the tips and advice given on today's segment. Do me a favor and go to iTunes and my YouTube, and please subscribe to that channel. Every subscribe, every like, every follow helps the Dr. Jaime Show grow so that we can bring you the best guest and the best content possible. And of course, as always, if you have any feedback, feel free to leave that as well. Talk to you soon.